Now, we know that we have basic education certificate examination. Then we have the West Africa Senior High School, that's the WASSCE, the Senior or Secondary School Certificate Examination. But year in, year out, there's a problem we seem to have not found a solution to. And I'm talking about the issue of exam malpractices. As early as day one of the exam, we hear the number of persons that are picked up for engaging in malpractices. And these malpractices vary, and they span across a number of things. You can even have invigilator complicity, teacher complicity, and all that. Let's bring you a report on some persons who have been arrested for engaging in exam malpractices. When we come back in the studio, we'll have a conversation around same and see how we can find a solution to end this, if you like, recurring or annual menace. So let's take a look at this report.
Samuel Ama, a teacher at Ghana College Senior High School and an invigilator, was caught dictating answers to the Social Studies Paper 1 from a mobile phone he smuggled into the exam hall. Kwame Watenyankansa, a level 100 student of Accra Technical University, impersonated Kwesi Francis Atta, a registered candidate of Ghana College SHS. Similarly, Amadeka James, a level 100 student of the University of Ghana, impersonated his twin brother, Amadeka Justice, during the same paper. All three were arraigned before the Kasua District Magistrate Court, where they were found guilty. Samuel Ama was fined 80 penalty units and sentenced to 8 months imprisonment. Kwame Watenyankansa and Amadeka James were each fined 80 penalty units and sentenced to 6 months imprisonment. During a monitoring tour of the Dupont SHS Examination Center, the chief executive of the Awutu Senya East Municipality, Seth Sabasewono Banini, identified lapses in the seating arrangement of candidates. He pledged that new measures will be introduced to prevent further breaches.
Conjunction in the various halls and classes does not meet the standard practice. So, the paper now, the best spread on, there are subsequent papers now, that kind of conjunction. And some of the invigilators now, work for arranging sitting arrangement MBOA. So we expect going forward now, those things will not happen.
On his part, the Municipal Education Director, Frank Etre Hayford, condemned the malpractice incidents and assured that authorities are committed to safeguarding the integrity of the exams. He warned that anyone caught engaging in similar activities will face the same sanctions.
Ours is to prevent future occurrence. We have to make sure that the examination principle is followed, that those who need to pass should not fail, and those who shouldn't pass should not pass.
Ahead of the 2025 WASSCE, education stakeholders repeatedly warned candidates to steer clear of examination malpractices, but those warnings appear to have gone unheeded. Already, more than a dozen people, from teachers to invigilators, have been arrested for various offenses, including impersonation and aiding candidates to cheat.
2 persons were arrested for impersonation at Ghana College, Kasua. They were arraigned before court and have been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment each, while their accomplice was sentenced to 8 months imprisonment. Ebenezer Finn was arrested at St. Vincent College, Abradunkwa. Hannah Lariba, a student of Yeji Senior High School, Mumni Abdul Hafiz, bolted before the monitoring team could apprehend him. Mr. Kodua Desmond was arrested at Abbott College, Asante Bekwai. Osei Asibe Daniel was arrested at Etrima Kwanwuma Presbyterian SHS for impersonation. Raymond Kwasi was arrested at Etrima Kwanwuma Presbyterian SHS for contracting Osei Asibe Daniel to write the examination on behalf of Obin Dapa Emmanuel. Maxwell Chamba and Amaglo Livingston were arrested at Sefa Bonsu Royal SHS EG for impersonation. Mr. Ernest Frimpong, an invigilator, was arrested at King James SHTS for possession of a mobile phone. Patrick Essel, a former national service person, was arrested for aiding a candidate at Mpresu Senior High School.
Head of Public Affairs at WASSCE, John Kapi, revealed that the council has also shut down the Adventist Day Senior High School Center in Kumasi and relocated candidates to WASSCE's regional office after officials seized more than 60 mobile phones at the center.
We have also received reports of candidates having in their possession mobile phones, prepared notes, photocopied answers, obviously distributed by the invigilators. At Adventist SHS Bantama Kumasi, 64 phones were retrieved from the candidates during the elective mathematics paper. Candidates from that school have since been moved to the White Hall in Kumasi to continue with their examination. The council also has a list of schools that have been reported for their involvement in acts of irregularity. Strips of candidates from these schools will certainly be scrutinized.
WASSCE Director of Finance, Dr. Cornelius Azuma, also confirmed that government has fully settled all financial obligations for the conduct of both the WASSCE and the BECE.
All the BECE examination fees, that's about 122 million. And then as of yesterday, we have also received for the WASSCE school. So I must say that we have received all the fees for 2025 examinations.
The council further assured that results for private BECE candidates will be released on September 5.
So yes, you've seen that report. The problem seems not to want to go away. We're trying to find solutions to this particular problem. The various authorities, i.e. the GES, the WASSCE, have, if you like, instituted a number of measures over the years. But it looks like people are bent on engaging in this act, and so they are also devising innovative ways of going about it. So the authorities are almost all the time playing catch-up. That's where the difficulty is. We're going to have a conversation on this matter. One of the areas in which some of these incidents were recorded will be the Awutu Senya East municipality. We have the municipal chief executive here with us. That's the Honorable Seth Banini. Good morning, Honorable. Good to have you.
Good morning.
Right.
Cherish morning to your viewers and your listeners this morning.
Very well. Now, the head of public affairs for the West Africa Examination Council, John Kapi, is joining us via Zoom. And so let's say good morning to him as well, and then we can begin the conversation. Mr. Kapi, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, we're always looking at you from the screen on our walls, and it quite represents an interesting picture.
One of these days, I'll find time to
Yes,
be with you.
very. We'll be grateful. We'll be grateful. We'll be grateful. But we trust you're well.
I'm very well, thank you.
Very well. So we'll begin with the Honorable Banini, and then find out from your area, was this issue quite dominant, and how have you dealt with it so far?
Very well. Thank you so much. And once again, our regards to your cherished viewers. I happen to serve as the municipal chief executive, and definitely we have oversight responsibility of some of the decentralized government institutions. The GES is part of it. We got this disturbing report within the first week of the examination when the BNI and then other officials, including the GES, prompted me that a school, and I have to put on record that the affected school does not come from Awutu Senya East. They are actually within the South Municipal Assembly.
Okay.
And they registered with the center, one of the centers in Awutu Senya East. And so they are not originally from Kaswa, but an adjoining municipality, and they registered with our place. It's allowed in the GES procedure, so we wouldn't fault them for that. But for coming in with such a motive, and so the report had it that 3 persons who weren't students and an invigilator included, they impersonated 3 original students that had registered with the body to undertake the examination. They managed to go through the process to be screened and then took their seats. And I would have to commend WASSCE for putting one strategic measure in place by having a device that during the course of the examination, they take it around to validate students or people that are writing the exams via your thumbprint.
Okay, so that's biometrics.
It's biometric.
Biometric verification.
Exactly.
Right.
So there is a biometric device that fish them out. And so at the end of the day, these three people, their data did not conform with what was there. So the BNI came in, the police came in, and then they were apprehended. From where they are writing the exams to the court is just a walking distance. So things were facilitated. The judge sat through the case and then pronounced the judgment. We do not support some of these things. Our responsibility is to make sure that people that go through the educational system go through the right process and are refined, because most of them end up in our hospitals and the various institutions. You can imagine if half-baked students go through and become a nurse, issue a paracetamol, and he or she will do something else. It's part of the reason why our health thing is falling, health standards are falling and all that. So when this came to my notice, I quickly had a solid collaboration with the municipal education director, together with other members of the directorates, and we have mounted serious surveillance on all the centers, at all the centers that the examinations are being written. Upon our first visit our first visit after the incident happened, we went in and realized that the invigilators, assistant invigilators, and then the supervisor there, they were not following the standard practice by WASSCE. That is standard practice, I mean the student to invigilator ratio. It has to be 30 students per invigilator in a classroom so that there could be effective work. We realized that some of them were 40, some of them were 42 in a class.
To an invigilator.
To an invigilator. So we quickly sought that be reversed, which was done. We also realized that there were some of the halls that they were writing the examination that for some reason or strange reason, they had compacted the students' living spaces behind, and we questioned why that was it. They couldn't find any solid answer for us. And so we quickly...
Didn't that suggest complicity to you?
Well,
on the part of, if you like, whoever the supervisor or the invigilators were?
Whatever reason there may be, if the right thing, if you deviate from doing the right thing, certainly there should be a motive, either obscure motive or whatever motive. But we had to make sure, our persons, they had to make sure that whatever motive that was there, it was reversed to the standard practice, so that everyone writing the exam would have gone through the appropriate procedure, and we have made sure that that has been sustained up to now.
Very well, very well. Let's speak to Mr. Kapi of WASSCE. Mr. Kapi, last time we spoke, we were hopeful that these, if you like, instances will be nipped in the bud. We were quite confident in the measures that had been instituted to prevent a recurrence. As we sit here, are we disappointed or not?
Good morning, and good morning to our viewers. Good morning to the MC in the studio. I appreciate all the comments that he has made. Yes, indeed, we are disappointed. Very, very much disappointed, because besides the sensitization that we have done with the candidates, the media engagements that we have held, and then to a very large extent, we held some stakeholder engagements across the country. We spoke to a cross-section of our populace, educationists, opinion leaders, and so on and so forth. And so if after all of these efforts we still have this high rate of irregularity, obviously we would be disappointed.
What does it say about the measures we have put in place to fight this menace?
Well, we look at it from two different angles. One is the measures we put in place. These measures are basically human, let me put it that way, because you wouldn't want to introduce anything that will cause the candidates to panic and then create an atmosphere that is not conducive for examinations. Now, to a large extent, we realize that the people that are supposed to be in charge of the examinations, that is the invigilators and supervisors, seem not to be on top of their job. they seem not to be going by the rules that they are given, because we have held, sensitization programs, we have held briefing sessions with them. We've introduced them to all the new things that we want them to observe in the course of the examination. And so, and again, let me say that these are candidates who are supposed to be under you. You have the authority over them. And therefore, if you are applying all of these rules, there's no way by which any candidate will want to go against it, because they know that there are sanctions that could come against them. So it's a multifaceted kind of thing. For the candidates, it's just like leaving your valuables in public. There'll certainly be somebody who will be interested and will pick it up. So given the opportunity, some candidates will resort to cheating. And so it is the responsibility of the supervisors and vigilators to ensure that they maintain the highest of standards, so as to get the candidates also to comply and do what is right.
Mr. Kapi, we know that you've indicated that 14 individuals have been arrested nationwide. Have you arrested more, or looking at the 14, it has deterred other invigilators to desist from any form of an examination malpractice?
It's unfortunate. We've arrested more. Yesterday, for example, at Holy City Senior High School, Asin Fosu, we arrested 4 impersonators. We've also arrested some supervisors and invigilators. The supervisors had used their phones to take snapshots of the questions, and they sent them outside. And so we had the people answering the questions and sending the answers back. So when the phone was retrieved, they found out that they had all of these, things on them. So really, the figure has gone up, and I have not looked at the reports that were sent to me this morning after yesterday's, exercise. I believe that if I were to take a look at it, I realize that they would have sent in, some more reports about maybe arrests. I'm not anticipating that, but you can never tell.
So as we speak now, the figure stands at 18.
The figure stands at 18. It could be 20, because there were some other 2. I've not confirmed that yet. If I get confirmation, then that will take us to about 20. Yeah.
You spoke about impersonation. I'm sure there should be a measure put in place to ensure that the individual sitting for the exams is the appropriate person writing the examination. Why will an invigilator look on, or whoever is sessioning the student before, or the candidate before he or she enters the examination hall, not the appropriate person who is sitting behind the paper?
Well, I think if I listened carefully to what the MCE said, he indicated that we use biometric machines to verify. Now, I believe, this is my personal view, that there's some kind of collaboration between these impersonators and the supervisors of the examination. Because obviously, if you are the owner of a school, you should know who your students are, you should know who your candidates are. And so for anyone to be able to walk in there and sit down confidently to write the exam for another person, it means that somebody from within is aware of this arrangement. For example, the case that was mentioned by the MCE, whoever contracted these people to write the examination was also picked up. Now, the Bekwai case, where we picked up one impersonator, the fellow who facilitated that has absconded, and he's on the run, and we are looking, the police in fact are looking for him. Now, so this is just to say that, as I said earlier, the supervisors are not doing a good job, because besides the biometric machines that our monitors have, we have a biometric machine for every single center, so that if any supervisor is in doubt about the eligibility of a candidate, they could simply pick that device. It is not heavier than, a scientific calculator. So you could easily just go there, and by the fingerprint, you can tell whether the fellow is a bona fide candidate or whether he is an imposter. But unfortunately, they are not doing this, and that probably explains why we still have such a high number of impersonators.
Wow.
How difficult does this make your work, especially with the non-collaboration or non-cooperation of these invigilators? How difficult does it make it for WAEC? And who should we go to for a remedy? Is it GES?
Well, for us, it is the invigilators and supervisors who are making the job difficult. The reason being that these are people who have been entrusted with this job of making sure that the candidates, comply with the rules of the examination. Unfortunately, if in their presence, these candidates are still able to do these things that are, not allowed, then obviously they are the major, group that has disappointed us in this whole enterprise. When it comes to teachers, unfortunately, the council does not have direct control over them. It is the Ghana Education Service that has control over them. And I remember very well that before the commencement of the BEC, the Director General of the Ghana Education Service indicated that they would not allow any teacher, or they would deal with any teacher who misconducts him or herself in the course of the examination. Now, before the commencement of the WASSCE, there was a meeting at the ministry where the Minister of Education, the Director General, they reiterated this particular point, that the GS Council has given them the permission to deal with anybody who misconducts him or herself. I think that these people are simply being recalcitrant, and if GES will crack the whip, maybe we'll be able to minimize these incidents of irregularity.
Wow, interesting. Thank you, John Kapi. We'll get back to you. But let's speak to the Member of Parliament for Eboakwa South and also a public health lecturer at KNU University who is joining us live. Honorable, good morning. Trust you are doing well.
Good morning.
We know you are joining us from the US, but we want to find out from you. You have said that there should be a total overhaul of the assessment system in the country. Tell us more about that and why are you calling for such a move?
Okay, thank you very much and a very good morning to your cherished listeners. I mean, hearing from the WAEC person, he has clearly demonstrated or come out with what the problems are. It is very difficult when you have the gatekeeper not being diligent enough. So the problem has to do with the gatekeeper. The next question is, can you have an examination without such gatekeepers? It becomes another difficult question to have a solution to. I remember on another platform when I proposed for an overhaul, one of the panelists suggested that we should have a CCTV across all the examination centers. I vehemently disagreed with that person because it is not feasible. We are talking about 1,000 or so exam centers. These examination centers include the schools that these candidates usually go to school. So my suggestion was, if this has become an issue and the nature of the gatekeeper has changed, I mean, back in the days, examination or practice was more about a candidate. Now the gatekeeper is heavily involved in this more practice. Then we have to have a rethink of how we assess our students. I mean, Philip, you agree with me that you can't examine 21st century candidates with 18th century system of evaluation. With the advent of AI, Google, and other databases, is it still relevant that we go through this examination, this kind of exams as a way of evaluating our candidates? That's a question. Should we change the model? If BEC, we are doing, let's say, 30% continuous assessment or internal assessment, and we are doing 70% by way of exams. Knowing what we now know, should we still proceed with that? Or go ahead and turn it around and see how it works out? Because for me, to have 6 years of primary education, 3 years of junior high, making 9, if you add preschool to it, 2 years of preschool, you are talking of 11 years of basic education. And we examine or we assess the variability of such a student or people or a candidate over a 3-hour paper. I think we have to have another way. We have to think around in another way. If we may want to, maybe perhaps find multiple ways of examining them. Their question paper comes with their name with answer booklet in. All candidates are answering different questions, but in the same thematic area specific to them, meaning they have to write in the answer booklet where they have their question paper and stuff like that. These are options that we can begin to have a discussion around.
So for you, one way or the other, we have failed or wouldn't be able to get this menace resolved if we do not use other methods in assessing the candidates.
I wouldn't say we have failed. It worked in the years past, but currently or going forward, it doesn't look it is feasible. We are talking of AI. We are talking of other databases such as Google and other places where people can quickly explore to have solutions to questions that are asked. So for instance, it becomes a project base. Let's say from JHS1 you begin a project. Over a 3-year period or a 2-year period, you are assessed and you have an opportunity to have an in-person discussions on whatever project that were assigned to you. Then you can do an exam that forms about 70%. Then you can have an exams for 30%. Then you move on.
Honorable Nana Tufo here. So if I understand what you're saying, so it means that as it is now, our assessment system or our culture of assessment only rewards rote learning and not necessarily practical learning.
Absolutely. You are testing people's or candidates in ICT. How many JHS students have even seen a computer before? We haven't. You go and they draw it on your board. They draw mouse, they draw the system unit, and they draw the screen.
So we're just recollecting. We're doing the true poor pass and forget.
Absolutely. That's what we've been doing.
Okay.
We do that and we forget about it.
Right. So I'm trying to establish the correlation between this and the exam malpractices. If we change the system of assessment, to what exactly? What if you can give us a practical example to what we can, how we can change this assessment culture, and then how it will address this endemic, if you like, malpractices that we've been recording.
So a pupil or a student in JHS1 is given a project, or a group of them are given a project to do. They have about 3 years or 2.5 years to get this project executed. When they get to the exams time, as they are currently, or as they did previously, they are given an opportunity to present their project to a panel.
Okay.
That panel will have the opportunity to ask them direct questions. Now, the point is, some may even suggest that it's the same panel, are they not just like invigilators? No. This time they may not be like that, because there could be cross-sectional of people coming from different districts as a panel to examine them. You have an opportunity, they will present to you, you ask them questions, which is very direct, and they'll have an opportunity to react to the questions that you ask them. That may become more feasible for the 21st century than what we are doing now.
Wow. So this is more of if like project evaluation and then what, a continuous assessment and a competency test instead of a written test.
Exactly. So it is always easy because this candidate or group has been involved in this project for over 2 years. I'm inclined to believe that even the slowest person would have picked some learning skills on the project.
Okay. Let's come to the Honorable in studio. When John Kapi was talking, he made mention of some of the headmasters, or let's say some of the school heads, getting to know the invigilators, sort of conniving with the candidates, coming on the back of the impersonation. Did you get the same idea, or did you get the same picture when you visited some of the schools as the municipal chief executive?
Well, Philip, we cannot take this factor out entirely. It's a whole syndicated network of activity that goes on there. See, the system, as elaborated by the GES and then the Honorable, is such that if there is no collaboration between one point and the other, there is no way a flow could go through. And so I would want to say that the WAEC should not just be there and then try to deploy all their arsenals before and then during the examination. I think they should adopt a strategy where they collaborate with some of the security agencies to get people to register as students, just to sit in. Because most of the things, the communication comes to the group of students before they enter. And so by so doing, getting your investigators in there with the students, they would definitely know if there is something that has to be done covertly before you go. They would give you the information. And so you are able to receive information, receive intelligence, and inform policies to prevent some of these things from happening. And we have to say that perpetrators of these, they might think they are helping the students to just pass out, to gain their names and get more people to come. They have not really thought about the quality of students we are churning out. They have also not thought about the effects and the bad they are doing to the institutions that are having oversight responsibilities of these things. Like the accountant said in your report, said government has paid all arrears that are owed WAEC compared to what was happening in the past or under the last administration. Government cannot be investing this money into it and then you sit down for your personal interests on the day of examination. You collaborate with people to just do a whole lot of stuff. At a point, I was telling the people we went to meet that your actions and inactions, we cannot watch that to affect the about 2,000 students that were writing at that particular center. Because if anything should happen, have you thought about the lives of these people? Have you considered what they will have to go through? We politicians, we interact with the very people at the grassroots. And it's sometimes difficult for people to manage the 3 years through to sit for the examination. And so if genuinely people study and then for the negligence of some people, they end up having those that study genuinely, having their papers all cancelled and all that, they have to sit and go through the process for 1 year. It's difficult for them to mobilize. But for President Mahama that had made some public policies that now have people going to fresh level 100, they have their fees paid.
The no fee stress policy.
No fee policy thing. And then the scholarship that is coming. A lot more people would have sat at home. And so people are now eager to study genuinely because they know if they gain admission, at least the first year, you'll be sorted out. Yesterday, I closed from the office around 9 p.m. And the reason was that we had a district committee that we were interviewing shortlisted candidates that had applied for the local scholarship program. And you could see, listening to people that appeared before the panel, I chaired the committee, you could see that people genuinely are going through a lot. And so you ask yourself that after people have managed to go through all these difficult moments, only for them to write candidly, genuinely, they are coming to write what they have studied. Then you sit somewhere, you collaborate, or you initiate a syndicated activity for the whole thing. No. We cannot sit for that to be happening. And so certainly a lot more would have to be done. And I also do not agree with the honorable member yes, I do not agree with you. See, where we are now and where we expect our country to be when it comes to education and the reforms, it's a journey. You would not want to say that we have not done anything. We keep investing and we keep building the process up. And so in building and in doing that, what we have to do is to strengthen the system so that we'll get there. Yes, there are places that have their education a bit backward when it comes to, for instance, the example he said, the ICT and the mounds being drawn on the board and all that. Yes, it's there. But you also not take away from successive government and current government the investment and the initiatives that have been taken to bridge that gap. And so we are going somewhere. It is not just cast in stone. We are going somewhere. And I believe in the next few years, looking at the trajectory that we are going and how the government is approaching, we'll be able to eliminate all of these. If we eliminate all of these things and we do not take pragmatic steps to care what happens, especially I believe in solving the issue before it even comes up, getting the investigative bodies to go through, getting other people to go through and get you intel and information ahead of time. We would have solved the issue with how our educational reforms are going. But on the day of writing...
Well, the argument of the Honorable is we should change the method.
Yes, the assessment policy. We need to rethink the assessment policy.
Rethink it. We shouldn't still be put paper down, put pen down, write, go and chew, come and pour and forget.
Yeah.
And that is also going to breed the fact that there is examination malpractice, because if I do not pass, that is the end of my life.
Yeah.
Okay, so we would not want to say that writing is the only form of assessment. Yes, we have technical and vocational education where other forms of assessment comes with what you can do. In other places, they put stuff together, they dismantle, and you have to put all of these things together. That is also part of an assessment. We cannot do away with the sit down and write. We want to assess your cognitive capacity of what you have been taught. We cannot take that out. Once that is part of, even in the advanced world, they still sit to write pen and paper examination. And so these things that we are suggesting is to guide subsequent pen and paper form of assessments. And also we build up capacity in the vocational skills, or what you can do with what you've been taught.
Now, before we go to the messages, go to John Kapi, let's just wrap up with Dr.
Agyemang.
Dr. Agyemang. Doc, your final words on this. We know that looking at the fact that you want the education system changed in this country and all that, what are you doing in the U.S. if we want to ask? Because Parliament is already says that you should be in Ghana. So what are you doing there?
And of course, since you sit on the Education Committee of the House, if you can tell us how interested or how worried the committee is regarding some of these matters and the way forward.
He's actually on the Health Committee. And,
right.
Yeah, he's a lecturer at the UK.
Okay,
so you can go ahead.
So I think, thank you very much for bringing my colleague Honorable back on track on where he thought he disagreed with me. I'm proposing a mixed method where 70% should be in person and stuff like that. So obviously every stakeholder will be worried about the turnout of how these malpractices are impacting on the daily lives of our candidates after several years of schooling. Why am I in the US? Okay, so today, later in the day, educational tourism is the way to go.
Right.
We'll be launching a landmark program of international internship of historically black colleges and university students, where they'll have an opportunity to come back, trace to their root in Ghana, because we've been able to pitch to them over the years that Ghana is the beacon of democracy and peace within the sub-region. Their ancestors came to the U.S. in bondage, in chains. They should have an opportunity to come back freely, educated, empowered to empower on their cousins, nieces, and nephews. So it's a way of bridging the gap where they can come and have real life experience, real life challenges, find solutions to them, and build collegiality among their peers. So that's the kind of program we'll be having here later in the day, and it is going to go well. We're going to have the first batch of international students of historically black college and universities coming to Ghana, specifically piloting with my constituency March next year.
Wow. And then on the oversight, the role of Parliament and the Select Committee.
Obviously, I mean, definitely when Parliament resumes, there will be discussions around it, and having the opportunity to discuss with you now, maybe I'll put a paper together for discussion.
Very well. Dr. Kingsley Agyemang, thank you so much for your time, and we wish you well with today's program and subsequent ones.
Make sure that you bring a lot more investment to Ghana to change our education and all that in the country.
No, thank you so much for your time. Dr. Kingsley Agyemang is the Member of Parliament for Abuakwa South. And he joined us from the US with his suggestions towards how we can, nib this menace of examination malpractice in the bud. Now, Honorable Banini, I'll come to you, but let me quickly go to John Kapi of WAEC for a response to the suggestions made by Honorable Agyemang. Mr. Kapi, thank you for staying on with us. We know we are dragging you this morning. We beg you, forgive us. But do you think that indeed it is time to rethink our assessment policy as a measure to addressing the malpractices we're seeing in the system, as suggested by Dr. Kingsley Agyemang?
Well, yes, these are issues that we have thought about already. For example, for the BCA, now the core curriculum that is being used, the candidates are supposed to have a project work. They're also supposed to have practical tests, and these should form part of the assessment of the candidates. The only thing that may not have changed is a weighting, where probably instead of 30%, it could go up to about 40% or even 50%. But again, these are decisions that will be taken by the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, NACA, in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service, and then we would be asked to implement that. Besides that, you would realize that for BEC in particular, the issue of rote learning is gradually fading out. The questions that are coming out now are more of questions that require you to apply the knowledge that you have acquired. So besides maybe a recall question that has to do with maybe a definition, most of the questions require that you would, describe a process or probably just get information and use that information to answer some questions, So that is a gradual shift. Of course, if you do a radical shift, you could have a problem, with the candidates that you are assessing. So we've got to balance this thing very well so that it doesn't affect anybody. Besides that, gradually we are also thinking about probably computer-based testing. It is something that we have thought about. We've had technical committee meetings. We want to pilot that with one of our small examinations, the General and Advanced Business Certificate Examination. There's an examination that doesn't have a large candidature, so we can manage them at the regional capitals where we are sure of internet connectivity. And once we're able to do that, we believe that we can begin the process so that, if that works out, of course, we can replicate that. But again, these things will call for a lot of investment.
Right.
But before that, the Honorable Banini spoke about national security or getting some of their members to set for
like
the
infiltrate
exams.
the ranks of the candidates and do their
I want to
own
find out from
operation.
John Kapi, is this something that you are doing already? Because mind you, I have seen a documentary that you are in there, you've granted an interview and all that. That sort of brought out some of the issues, seeing invigilators helping candidates or students. They look on, the students are having phones with them and all that. Is this something you've already started when it comes to getting the national security officers in there or security men to also sort of silently get to know what is happening in the examination hall?
We have our own locally trained monitors that we send around. They are also able to pick the kind of information that was used in that documentary. The documentary was made by a different person altogether. It was a journalist who did that. But then, yes, we have...
Well, unfortunately,
I think we seem to have lost Mr. Kapi there. But I think it was a good submission he was making. Just that sometimes I don't like it when we question them on some of these things.
Yeah,
you see, the people on the other side too will learn, and then
they also trying to be smart.
You understand, to beat them.
Okay.
But it's all well and good as we are doing the education and the sensitization, the awareness creation and all. Oh no, but there's a question here. This one says, "Hello, good morning, Nana. Kindly help me ask the MC that doesn't he think because exam malpractices are easily exhibited in his area, that's why students are registered in that area? That is, if he's saying such, the students involved are from other districts and not his."
Very well.
You know, the earlier clarification you made regarding...
Exactly,
yes.
exactly. I don't think so. Examination malpractice, like the public relations officer said, he mentioned other places.
Exactly.
Will this...
same analogy work in other
over
areas.
there, so it cannot be. Pockets of situations happen.
Right.
And when they happen, we tackle them head on. And then inform policies or plans that would prevent subsequent occurrence. So that cannot stand for us. Yes.
Right. Very well. I'm a bit concerned about the issue of, if like supervisors or invigilators becoming collaborators in this crime. And for those who were arrested in your municipality, these were only students?
There was one supervisor.
One supervisor.
Yes.
Was this supervisor also jailed?
Yes, all three corporates have been given punitive punishments. Yeah.
Good. It's important you use that word because I was asking if our punishments our punishments are punitive enough to deter others from engaging in such acts.
Yes. In this particular case, it's not only enough, but the swift nature of it sends shocking wave to people that were thinking to use other forms. And you see, a systemic approach to this is continuous upgrade of the plans and other means we lay on board to solve this. You see, the syndicated network or the collaborators, they are also there. The moment you put in plan B, they activate a countermeasure of plan D. And so the institutions that have these oversight responsibility of our examination would always have to be one step ahead. So that by the time these syndicators are looking at ways to punch holes into the laid down security measure, you would be one step ahead, just so that our assessment system will be solid and strong, very robust like that.
Right. All right, thank you, Honorable. Please hold on for us. We understand John Kapi is back on the line for us. Mr. Kapi, sorry, we lost you momentarily there, but you were making a submission regarding how you do your own internal investigations and going forward, how you intend to apply the findings of same to address this menace. So please, if you can wrap up on that submission for me.
Yeah, so I was talking about us having our own monitors who go around. They have all these modes by which they are able to pick up information for us. Even before the examinations commence, we are told about some of the hotspots where these things are likely to happen. We are told about the modes in which they are preparing for this, kind of exercise. Even as we speak, we have managed to send monitors to some of the areas, and indeed we have received confirmation that the earlier information that was given to us before the commencement of the examination is actually true. And so these are things that we are doing. We try our best to, have our ears on the ground everywhere across the country, just so that we're able to tell what people are planning to do, and then we try our best to counter them. It is not a very easy exercise to do, because you have to make people travel very difficult terrain. You have to make them appear in sometimes in a very disguised way. Now, the Honorable MC mentioned the fact that probably we could plan some, security agencies to write. We may not be able to do that for school exam, because the exam is primarily for candidates who are in school generally. As soon as a school sees a strange person like that, they begin to suspect that this is what it is. We may be able to have some of these people as invigilators that we send to especially the private schools, but not in the public schools, again, because they know each other. And so once a strange person is there, unless of course that person is there purposely to ensure that these things do not happen. But we also have reports of the proprietors of these schools compromising some of these persons that you may send out there to go and do the job for you. So it's a human factor that we need to look at very, very critically.
Mr. Kapi, does WAEC register schools without students but only candidates for the exam?
No, we don't. Now, every school, before you are given accreditation, we have our personnel who come there to inspect your facilities to ensure that you are a running school.
Right.
Now, what we realize is that these people gradually, unless you do an annual check on them, they have satellite campuses, and when it's time for the examination, they bring them all to the center, which is a running school, and that is what bloats up their numbers. And so this is something that has come to our attention, and we are gradually going there. We wouldn't want to put out all the information because, of course, when they get to know, they'll begin to, cover their tracks.
There's a message here from Emmanuel in the Eastern region, And it says WAEC has still not released the withheld English language papers of some BEC candidates for the CSSPS exercises. It has been almost 3 weeks since they called both parents and students for investigation. For my ward, they didn't even bring his script. Is it that they don't want these students to further their studies because of their own invigilators? Should students bear the brunt of the collusion of invigilators, and should it be a blanket punishment for all candidates?
There's no blanket punishment for all candidates. That would be unfair to the ones who do independent work, like the Honorable MC mentioned earlier. Excuse me. But then I believe that this particular person who is speaking is probably may have checked and then has not found the results. No. First of all, it is not accurate for anyone to say that these are WAEC invigilators. No, they are personnel of the Ghana Education Service. But then what we've tried to do has been that all the people that we have met and had a discussion with them, we've held our subcommittee meeting. Those who should have their results released would have them released. As I'm speaking with you at about 10 a.m., I have a subcommittee meeting where we are going to look at the outcome of the interactions they've had with the candidates, and those who are not found culpable would have their results released for the CSSPS to also go ahead and place them appropriately for their senior high school education.
Very well.
Anyway, so as we know the exams will be ending, that is WASSCE will be ending somewhere 19th September. What are the measures going forward that, looking at the fact that you've arrested between 18 to 20 individuals now in the examination malpractice of misconduct, what are you putting in place to ensure that the right thing is done for the rest of the period where the exams will be happening?
Well, we've had to increase our presence around the examination centers. That is extra cost to us, but well, that is what we're supposed to do. We have deployed a lot more people to go around, especially in the areas where we have serious incidents of examination malpractice. As we speak, virtually every day people call from across the country indicating what is happening. Now that gives us a bigger task, because once we get to know that this is what has happened, we will certainly have to scrutinize the scripts coming from those centers in order that we do not award grades to people who do not deserve them. So much as we have deployed more people into the field to monitor the examination, we would also have our internal processes where we'll scrutinize their scripts in order that those who do not deserve any such grades would not be awarded them.
Wow. And also, same question.
Just a quick one for Mr. Kapi before we let him leave. Rumors of uniformed military men supervising examinations. Has this come to your attention? Is there any truth in it? What is the story behind this?
That is absolutely false. It happened that as part of our routine, when the examinations begin, the head of office would go to some of the institutions to find out what is happening over there. And we just happened to be at the Armed Forces Secondary Technical High School. When we got there, we found out that, in fact, there were 2 people in military uniform who came to welcome us. They told us they were teachers. In fact, that was the first time I actually saw them in military uniform. I thought that they were civilians who were teaching in there. So we went into the hall. The supervisor welcomed us into the hall. He announced to them that we're on our routine checks, and so they should come down and write the examination as usual. Now, then I saw this gentleman in military uniform. I even walked up to him. I asked the supervisor first whether the candidates were not intimidated by the presence of a military officer. I said, he was a teacher.
Right.
And that they
was a center.
Yes, so
he thinks he's giving Odupon a bad name.
Exactly, not just Odupon, but putting Kaswa back in the limelight for reasons that we have no. So yesterday, when we went ahead in company of the Municipal Education Director and his other officials, that came up. And I think the headmaster made a passing comment that going forward, he would cut down accepting some of these people to come in and then use his school as a center. And that came up because there is a WAEC depot at his place. And so it makes it easier for other people to come when you have structural space to accommodate this students that come in or these schools that come in like that. I think that due to the dynamic nature of this conversation, you know, managers put in place strategic measures, syndicators and collaborators also do a counter. It calls for a sustained national stakeholder deliberation on this. And we have to do this with without the lens of favoritism or anything, because at the end of the day, the people that we churn out come back to the society and they impact us positively or negatively. And so this sustained stakeholder engagement must not stop. We must, yes, we can't stop. Because you see, next year examinations would come up. Whatever we are discussing now, okay, we would have implemented that. They would have also come back much stronger to compromise our system, especially when the public relations director said people that they send in ahead of time get compromised by either the private people. That's shocking. That becomes the last resort, because clearly we cannot use uniformed people. In fact, all the centers have police presence there, but they do not even get into the halls of examination. They man the perimeters of the place and make sure everything is. But they cannot even get there because of panic reaction of the students and all that. And so clearly, sending uniform people inside there is a no-go area. Our only resorts are the people we have trained and then trust them to go. The other places, in Kaswa, we have the presence of the BNI or the NIB officials who come in dressed in mufti. And yes, most of the people you were seeing there were people. And were people from these offices. And I must say that after the incident, we made a few calls, and so there was reinforcement of these personnel at the centers. That is the 7 centers that we have in the municipality, just to make sure that quality does not get compromised after the first incident.
Wow. You have started a very good job as an MC to go around and monitor this exercise, and now you've been able to see some of the challenges. As an MC or within your district, what are some of the measures you've put in place to say, hey, going forward to the end of the exams, we wouldn't record such instances or such incidents that will mar the name of Kaswa or Ewutu Senya East?
Yep, I reiterated one of them earlier by increasing the number of the investigative people. So as I speak with you now, yesterday, not only the district BNI people, but the divisional commander himself was on grounds to make sure we increase the number of his personnel across the various centers. I have a very solid relationship with the Municipal Education Directorate. The director is always with me with his people. We have increased. Yesterday alone, we deployed in excess of 20 more teachers from the Municipal Education Directorate to these centers, and most of the invigilators there do not know them like that. And our physical presence too. Besides, we have had conversations with people within the confines of the examination to feed us with information, because mostly from outside you might not get the authentic information, but when people from within, they brief you up and then we act on that. We believe that these interim measures have made it possible for us not to record any subsequent events from the ongoing examination. And we'll sustain that until the end of the examination for this particular trip, pending further discussion at the national level and the major actors there, so that by next year we would have been privy to some of the resolutions and some of the initiatives they have put in place to curb that.
I'm sure there will be a report after the exam, and so this report will feed into the reforms going forward. But thank you so much for your time. Before you go, though, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kaswa would now be what? The biggest town within the Ewutu Senya East area?
Kaswa is Ewutu Senya East. That's our capital is Kaswa.
Okay, the capital is Kaswa.
Yes.
Is Kaswa a difficult place to manage? That's my final question to you.
Oh, Kaswa is an interesting place to be. See, because of our cosmopolitan nature, we have people from all walks of life coming in. Okay, and so it makes it it doesn't make it difficult. I don't know how to use the word difficult, but it would make you think outside the box to be able to manage the people well.
Keeps you awake at night.
Exactly.
Keeps you on your toes.
You will not sleep. The Kaswa job will not. And it's almost like they cook fresh problems for you to solve on daily basis. And it makes you tough. Personally, I've been in Kaswa. I've been living in Kaswa for over 25 years. So I understand the dynamics well. I've been in our political space for almost 2 decades, about 15 years. So I understand the people, not just within my political space, but across the political divide. And when you blend some of these things and coupled with your relations with people, you are able, because, you see, I've visited ghettos. It is assumed that people from the ghettos or the bases cause problem. When His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama appointed me as part of efforts to make sure we bring crime rates, I've personally visited some of the ghettos, spoke and had interaction with the ghetto boys, made them aware what we are coming to do. Sometimes it's just about the interactions you have with them, and then they move next to the job opportunities you can link them to, just to take them off from being idle. Some of these things have helped to bring crime rates down.
Oh, beautiful.
Exactly. You could just, between January and then now, relatively, the name of Kaswa has been down when it comes to crime. And also, one of the things that we did was to start changing the narrative. You see, things happen in Ashalaja, that is Gassouth. They attribute it to Kaswa because of our growing nature. You know, that works best in economics, especially if it's a market or if it's a business. You always better off when you associate the smaller one with the bigger one. It's the same thing when it comes to our city management, and when it comes to crime. You know, you rip here, you rip there too. And so things happen in Nyanyano, things happen in Liberia Camp, things happen in Breku, things happen in Bojase, things happen in SCC, and they say Kaswa SCC, Kaswa Bojase, Kaswa Nyanyano, Kaswa Breku, Kaswa Liberia Camp.
Infatuated all those areas
exactly.
To Kaswa.
Meanwhile, it doesn't happen in Kaswa. And by this, I'm not saying that in the past things have not happened in Kaswa. We also have our fair share of issues, but the reportage over the time hasn't been right, especially when it comes to allocation. So what we have tried to do within these few past is to set the narrative right, then make sure that when events happen, your people, our people, the journalists go in there and then they do the right thing. And it's been yielding. About 1 month ago, an unfortunate incident happened in the adjoining municipality, that is the Gassouth municipality, around a month from thereabout. A mobile money vendor had closed from work. He was going home. Some people followed up, not only stole his money, but shot him, and he passed on. I think the police are working on that. That is clearly in Gassouth, but very close to Kaswa. In fact, we have a common boundary there. The boundary is almost similar, so you don't even know which point.
Exactly.
Okay. But for this advocacy, they would have reported that another person
mobile
has been
shot
in
at
Kaswa.
mobile money
There
vendor shot at
was a
Kaswa.
recent one that happened at Chinese Down. There was a story of
that happened even in Gassouth, around Red Top thereabout.
So Chinese Down is in Gassouth.
Yes, and not in Kaswa.
Wow.
So you see, one of the things we've been able to do is to, but I'll have to say that our administration, myself and then my MP, Honorable Nakoyo Okuno, we are working closely together to make sure that we change the narrative and also bring up the level of education in there. Permit me to state this. About 3 weeks ago, we had this proposal. So we met the prison's Director General and then his people. And I proposed us to have an experimental school like what the...
Boston Homes?
Come again?
The Boston?
No, not the Boston Homes. The Garrison School. And so for the first time, within the sub region in Ghana, we are going to have an experimental school in collaboration with the prison service in the Ewutu camp. We have a camp we call Ewutu Camp Prisons. Yes, we've been able to secure 3 acres of land out of that. So this school, when we are done with it, would have trained teacher personnel who are prison officers to be teaching in the schools. And this particular idea that we brought up that have been championing is to make sure that we reset the fallen discipline standards within our school. Can you imagine, like when you go to Garrison School and 37, when you even see them, the way they talk, the way they are, it's completely different. I attended Tertiary Sec. we mostly interacted with them. And so that was where the idea came up. So having the opportunity to inform this decision, I brought it up. My engineers at the assembly bought into it. Right. My honorable member of parliament supported it, and we have pushed it. And so by next year, we would have had that school coming up. Not only will it give preferential treatment to all other security agencies wards within the municipality, but then it will be open to the public too, and it would be the reset point for discipline and high academic standards to be reinitiated back into the school. We also, 2 weeks ago, I also led the Municipal Education Directorate to bring back my first day at school, where we bought books and learning materials, including snack, for all the 49 basic schools within the municipality.
Very well.
All freshers had access to books, some snacks, learning materials and all that. We welcome them to school like that. And so we are doing our best to make sure we bring up the standard of education, we elevate it.
Very well. Congratulations, and we wish you all the best. Honorable Seth Banini, FCE for Awutu Senya East.
The name is Seth Saba Sewonu Banini.
Seth Saba Sewonu Banini.
Yes.
Seth Saba Sewonu Banini. Wow. Thank you so much. I mean, this has been good. We are grateful for your time and your insights this morning. And we wish you well in managing the people of Kasoa and the entire Awutu Senya East. Maybe we'll find time to come there so we can do some more insights and nose dive.
The only nation within Ghana.
Yes, Kasland.